Hi guys, in this video we are going to modify our server.js file. As you can see, currently our server.js file is having many lines of code, right? So this is not a good way to handle. So to write a clean code, we are going to separate every root into another file. Like here we are having logout root, right? So we are going to cut this root and we are going to paste that root into a separate file. As well as we are going to create a separate file for this forgot password root, as well as for this send email root and then login check. So we are going to create a separate file for every single root so that the server.js file will look small and we can able to identify each error. So for that, first of all, inside this server folder, I'm going to create a folder with name roots. So inside this first, I'm going to create a root. I'm going to create a file with name registration check route .js. So inside this, I'm going to cut this registration check route. So let me cut this from here. So we also have to copy this. I will tell you why you have to copy this transport variable as well. Just wait. Let me cut this and paste it here. So inside this, as you can see, we are using NodeMailer library, right? So we are using this NodeMailer library to send OTPs. Since we are using NodeMailer inside this registration root.js file, we have to import this. Otherwise, it will throw an error. So here we have to import NodeMailer, import NodeMailer from NodeMailer library, NodeMailer. So now our registration check root.js file can able to get this NodeMailer package. So after that, and then so here as you can see we are using user class variable. So this variable is from our models file. As you can see here we are having user class. So since we are using this user class inside this registration check root.js file, we have to import this as well. So let me import user class. So now user class is successfully imported inside our registration check root.js file. And then here as you can see we are using bcrypt library as well. So we have to use bcrypt, we have to import bcrypt library. Otherwise it will throw us an error. So let's import bcrypt. Import bcrypt from bcrypt library. So now bcrypt is also successfully imported. After that, let me check what should we import. So I think that's it. We don't need to import anything. So now we have to import express library as well. I will tell you why you have to express. Why you have to import express. Just wait. Import express from express. So inside this express, we have a function called router. See, after entering dot, we are getting a recommendation from VS Code as router. So simply click on this. So this express dot router function will allow us to split our routes into separate files. So this router will return as an instance. So we have to store this inside a variable. So you can name the variable whatever you want. So for naming convention, I'm going to give our variable name as app router. So now we are defining our router inside this app router variable. So here instead of this app.post, we have to use this app router because now we are managing our routes using this function express.router, and we are storing that inside this app router variable. So here we have to give app router. So now we have to provide this route to our server.js file. Otherwise, we cannot able to send any request to this registration check route. So since we are going to use this registration check route.js file in server.js file, we have to export this app router, so that we can able to use this app router inside other files. So now below this, simply use export default and then our app router. So now we can able to use this route inside server.js file. So here we have to import. So now inside this server.js file we don't need this node mailer. Let me cut this. And then here I'm going to import registration check route. So you can give any name you want here, but I'm going to give it as registration check route. So here we have to import this file registration check route.js file. So here we have to specify that path from dot. Here as you can see routes, and inside that routes we have this file registration check route.js file. So now inside this server.js file, this registration check route refers to this route app.post registration check. So this route is referred by this registration check route inside this server.js file. So here let me enter a comment. This is the registration check route. So here we have to use app.use and then we have to provide this version check route so that this server.js file can able to get this route. And then now let's create another file inside this roots folder. So I'm going to give the root name as file name as login root.js. So now inside this login root, we're going to cut the login check route from our server.js file. So here as you can see, we are having our login check route, right? So let me cut this and paste it inside our login root.js file. So after that, so here as you can see, inside the login check route, we are using this user class model, which is coming from this user model.js file. So we have to import this user class, otherwise we cannot able to get anything for that user class. So we have to import user class, and then we are also using bcrypt here as you can see. So we have to import bcrypt as well. Import bcrypt from bcrypt, and then what should we do? Okay, here as you can see, we are using create cookie function. So we have to import this as well. So that create cookie function is inside our here inside this cookie folder create cookie.js file. So I have to import this create cookie.js file as well. Otherwise, this create cookie function will return certain error. So let's import create cookie. See, we are getting recommendation from VS Code, and then I think that's it. We don't need to import anything. Okay, now we have to import Express. Import Express. Import Express from Express. So now we are going to inside the Express we have a function called router to manage the routes. So this will return as an instance. So I'm going to store that instance inside a variable called app router. So now instead of this app we have to use app router. So to use this route inside our root file, which is server.js file, we have to export this. So at the end of the line here, simply write export default and then our router, which is app router. So now we can able to use this login check route inside our server.js file by importing. So let's import. Now we don't need this create cookie function. Simply remove this from server.js file, and then I'm going to give the name as login check route. Login check route. From we have to give our login check route.js file. Login route.js file. So now this login check route refers to this login check route inside our server.js file. So here simply write this is the login check route. So we can simply use app.use and then our login check route. So after that, let's create another file to store this verification check route. So here I'm going to create a file with name verification check route.js. So inside this, let's cut our verification check route from the server.js file and paste it inside our verification check route.js file. So here as you can see, we are using user class model. So we have to import that. Let me import user class, and then what should we import? Yeah, I think that's it. We don't need to import anything for this verification route. So now let's create a router which is inside the express library. So we have to first import express to use that express.router function. Import express from express. So now let's use express and then router function. So this router function will return as an instance. So I'm going to store that instance. Let's name it as app router. So here instead of app we have to use app router now. App router. So now to use this verification check route inside our root file server.js, we have to export this. So let me export this, export default, and then verification check. So not verification check, it is app router. So now we can simply import this verification check route.js file inside this server.js file. So I'm going to give the name as verification check route.js. Sorry, not here, not .js. So I have to import our verification check route.js file from our routes folder, routes and then verification check. So now we have to use this verification check route in order to get this route inside our server.js file. So here I'm going to add a comment like this is the verification check route. So simply use app.use and then verification check route. So here whatever you give the name, that name should be given inside this app.use function. So after that, For now, ignore this. So now I'm going to cut this forgot password root and paste it inside a separate file. So inside this root, let's create a file name. Let's create a file with name forgot password root.js. So now let's cut this code from our server.js file and then paste it inside our forgot password root.js. So here as you can see we are using user class, so I have to import that. So let's import user class from user model.js file. So now here as you can see we are using bcrypt library as well, so I have to import bcrypt library. Import bcrypt from bcrypt. And then I think that's it. We don't need to import any other things. So now we have to create a router. So to create router, we have to import Express library. Import Express from Express. So now let's use Express and then router function, and let's store this router inside a variable called app router. Const app router. And then let's replace this app with app router. And let's export this forgot password root in order to use that inside our server.js file. So I have to use export and then default and then our router, which is app router variable. So now let's import this file inside our server.js file. So I'm going to use import and then you can give any name you want. So I'm going to give it as forgot password root from routes folder and then forgot password root.js file. So now we have to use this. So here I'm going to write a comment. This is the forgot password root, and then here simply use app.use and then this name forgot password root. So now this arrow.js file can able to get this root. After that, let's cut this logout root. Let me cut this from here, and then let's create another root with name logout root.js. So let me paste the code that we have cut from our server.js file. So inside this, we are not using any model, so we don't have to import anything except Express library. So let's import Express from Express. Now let's create a router by using express.router. So let's store this inside a variable called app router. App router. So now instead of this app, we have to use app router. So let's export this logout root in order to use that inside of server.js. So for that, we have to use export default and then app router. So now we have to import this logout.js file inside our server.js file. So here I'm going to use import logout root from our roots folder and then logout root.js file. So let's use this. So here I'm going to add a comment as this is the logout root. So now let's use app.use and then this logout root. Logout root. So now this logout root can successfully able to accessible inside our server.js file. So after that, let's cut this root as well. So let's name it as, let's create a file with name send email.js. So here let me cut this route, cut it and paste it inside our send email.js file. So here as you can see we are using user class. So I have to import that. Import user class. And then what should we use? Okay, here as you can see we are using transporter. So I have to use transporter variable as well. So the transporter variable is inside our register check root here. So we have to provide this transporter. May copy this and paste it here. Okay, I think now it will work. Let me check whether we have to import any other things. Yeah, I think that's it. We don't need to use anything. So now let's import Express library. Import Express from Express. And let's create a router by using express.router function. And let's store this inside a variable called app router. Const app router. So now instead of this app, we have to use app router. So to use this route inside our server.js file, we have to export this. So let's export this route by using export default and then our app router. So now let's import this file inside our server.js file. Import send email route from our routes folder, and then we have to select our send email.js file. So now let's use this by using, so let's add a comment. This is the route for sending an email message for all users at once. So here simply use app.use and then this one send email route. Let me copy this and paste it here. So after that, as you can see, these two, we don't need this two files because we are not using this two inside our server.js file. So let's remove this, and then I think that's it. Let's check it, guys, whether it is working or not. So as you can see in my command prompt, I'm already running my front end file at localhost 5173. So here as you can see it is running. So let me click on this. Let me click on logout. So after clicking on logout, as you can see it is not working. Let me click on inspect. We're getting some error, guys. Let me check the console. Cannot find module server model. So as you can see, we are getting error from this register check root.js file, and the error is cannot find module on my app server. So it is saying that it cannot able to get this user model file inside this register check root.js file. Let me go to register check root.js file, registration check root here. So the error is saying that it cannot be able to get this user model, but we are importing that here user model, which is here. Okay, guys, we have to give the extension as well. As you can see, here we are only providing user model. We also have to give the extension name, which is .js. So I think I made these mistakes for all routes. Let me check. Here, as you can see, I'm only using user model, so I have to provide .js. And let me check the login route for as well. So let me give .js for this, as well as here we have not used it. Here we have already given. Here also I have to give .js. And then let me check the verification check route. So here also I have to give .js. So now I think it will definitely work. So let me close this and type localhost 5173 again. Let me click on this button. So if I click on logout, it is saying that loading. I think something went wrong, guys. Cannot find module. Quoted from. We are having an error inside this login root.js file for this create cookie. Okay, here also we have to provide the extension. Here as you can see it is saying that create cookie. Let me go to login root.js file. So the error is saying that it cannot able to get this create cookie from this create cookie. So here as you can see we are only providing create cookie instead of .js. So here we also have to provide .js. Now let me check the console again. Node mailer is not defined. We are getting another error, guys, inside this send email.js file. Let me go to send email.js file. Here it is. Okay, here as you can see we are using node mailer, but we have not imported that here. So let's import node mailer. Import node mailer from node mailer. Now let's check the console again. We are getting error again, guys. Server missing credentials for plain. My app server. It is saying that it cannot able to get our environment variables. I think it is saying that missing credentials for plain. Let me check it, guys. Okay. See here we are using process.env.pass. So this pass is an environment variable which is inside our .env file. So I don't want to show you that variable, guys, because it is my sensitive information. So here as you can see we are using that environment variable. So to access that environment variable inside this registration checkroot.js file, we have to use .env, right? So we use .env to access the variables which are inside our .env file. So here let's import .env, import .env from .env library, and then we have to use .env.config. So inside this .env we have a function called config, right? So by adding this config function we can able to get the values which are inside our .env file. So now let's check our server again. Yes, now as you can see we are not getting any errors, as you can see here. So let me clear the screen and run the server again. See, we are not getting any errors. That means our server is now successfully working. So now let's try to log in. Now let's try to click on logout button. So if I click on logout, see we are getting logged out. Now let's try to log in. So I'm going to type the email patientspot@gmail.com. So in our previous video, we have created an account by this email, right? So I'm going to enter the details. So if I click on login, see we are successfully getting logged in. That means our server.js file is successfully working. See now the let me remove this screen. Let me remove this lines. See the server.js file is looking less number of lines, right? Now it is very clean. We have successfully extracted all our routes inside this routes folder. Now let's check our registration as well. So I also want to know whether our registration is working or not. So here let me enter my name and then my email, gmail.com, and then my password. So if I click on register, we are getting email already exists. Okay, sorry guys, we have already created an account using this email, right? How can you able to register? So in the seventh video of our user authentication playlist, we have connected MongoDB Atlas database, right? So let me go to MongoDB Atlas. Let me click on sign in. So I'm going to log into my MongoDB Atlas account. Just wait, guys. See now we have successfully logged in. So from here we have to click on this database section to see our database. Just wait, guys. Here as you can see our database name is MyApp because let me show you. So inside this, let me go to this MongoDB Atlas URL which is inside this .env. So here as you can see inside our MongoDB Atlas URL we have given our database name as MyApp database here. So let me check the database. So let me click on this browse collection, guys. So inside this, we are having all our databases. So here, as you can see, we are having a database with name MyApp database. So this MyApp database name is coming from this. Here, as you can see, we have given our database name as MyApp database. That's why it is showing here. And inside that MyApp database, we have a collection with the name users. So we are getting users as name because inside our model, as you can see, we have given users as a collection name. That's why it is showing users inside our MongoDB Atlas. So let me click on this. So here, as you can see, we are having two documents with emails, patientspot@gmail.com, hemantanqueries@gmail.com. Because I have created an account from this website with these two emails. That's why those details are stored inside this MongoDB Atlas database. So from here, let me delete this patientspot@gmail.com. Let me click on delete. So now we can able to register an account by using this email. So now if I click on register, see we are not getting that error, email already exists. Instead, we are getting redirected to OTP verification page. So let me check my mobile to check the OTP. So let me check it, guys. Okay, I have successfully received an OTP. Let me enter that OTP. I have received the OTP as 9014. So if I enter 9015 and click on verify, see we are getting the error message. That means our verification check route is successfully working. Even after we have separated that route inside a separate file, forgot password root.js file. So now let me enter the correct OTP 9014. And if I click on this verify, see we are getting logged in. That means even after we have minimized our code inside the server.js file, it is successfully working as we as expected. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to create the movie web page inside our homepage, guys. So that's it for this video. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye bye.